Hello friends, this is Vineet Pandey and a lot of students who have recently passed out their MA classes are now preparing for NET, M.phil and PhD. The first question when you start preparation that comes to you is that what is the syllabus? Yes guys, when you start preparing for any exam, the most important thing that you have to remember is you must know your exam, you must understand the syllabus so that you can design your study plans, your books, your timetable and how to go about this thing. So in this exclusive video, I'm going to talk about the real syllabus of UGC NET. Guys, do you have any idea when a student starts preparation, he goes for UGC website or CBSE website for the syllabus? Because neither Vineet Pandey nor anybody else, we are not the trusted sources. Why so? Because we are not authorized by the government. Yes, I am saying that we are not trusted because government has not authorized us, but government has given you the website of CBSE, UGC, and UGC is the first authentic institution that talks about the syllabus. Do you know that UGC did not upgrade its own pattern, syllabus pattern, which is totally old? The patterns from subjective to objective that was changed in June 2012, they were still showing the same thing. They didn't even upgrade their paper pattern. All they talk about is the old clumsy syllabus, which is not actually the syllabus of NET. It's just 40 to 50% NET, or maybe they just give you the broader terms. They do not tell you exact fields, exact points, where to study, what to study, and what is their requirement. Do you know that NET preparation, when they talk about the writers and their books, why they have selected writers and books which are automatically, the part of their syllabus curriculum? 70 to 80% exams, they have same questions, same writers. If you go for all the previous NET papers, you'll find out that there are approx 80% writers who are repeated again and again, but their standards are different, their questions are different. The way they ask questions from those writers, they are totally different. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the real syllabus of UGC NET for all the new students who haven't started their preparation now. And yes, before I start all these things, I must tell you that 9 batches of online are totally full and we have started a new batch. To join the online batch, you can WhatsApp us on 85870-35827. Now, what you have to remember, the very first thing is when you talk about the real syllabus of UGC NET, you cannot prepare for any entrance exam of English literature if you have no idea about British literature. The very first thing is British literature, like 2007 NET, 8, 10, 11, 12 till 2012. British history played a vital role. Do you know that June 2010 there were only 11 students who qualified NET? People, they started reviewing this. They went for a review of English literature exam and they questioned why only selected people are qualifying, why only people those who are damn good in English are qualifying, and there are no success from corners of India, small towns of India, villages of India. So the very first thing is they changed the pattern and they enlarged the syllabus. So one way they helped the students to qualify by making it objective, and the second thing, they enlarged the syllabus. So the syllabus of UGC NET around 2011 December and the syllabus of UGC NET 2018 now is totally different. It's like British history was 70% dominant in early eras, and now it is British history which is only 20 to 30%. Rest is world literature, recent theories, latest topics, latest studies, and moreover their approach has been changed. Initially they would ask a question of 20 marks, talk about Dryden's writing style. So everybody, those who had idea, everybody who knew that yes, Dryden is a good writer, he wrote. But what about those who had no idea about Dryden's writing? They also wrote 3 pages, 10 pages, because we come from the arts background. We know how to write. All we know is a question and then we just start writing good, bad and this and that thing. But do you even imagine that in objective pattern, instead of asking these kind of elaborative questions, they will simply ask you, Dryden took stand for preposition, which is called prepositional stand. What do you mean by it? Guys, I ask you all, find prepositional stand in your history books, ask your teachers why they didn't teach you this, and you can write the comments that what is prepositional stand. Not my online students, because they know what is this. I ask you, when you prepare for British history, do you know that Anglo-Saxons literature, along with their culture, their language skills, their art and craft, that is also important in NET? How many of you have completed Anglo-Saxons art and craft and language skills? If you remember, there was a question in NET exam, culinary terms have been taken from CULINARY, which was recently asked in J&K set exam. Culinary terms are terms related to cooking taken from French language. I just want to ask, do you have the same thing in your syllabus of graduation, post-graduation? Is there any teacher who taught you the same thing? Do you know that Chaucer used a particular spice in Canterbury Tales talking about the taste of food? Did anybody try to teach you that? The question comes when you talk about Shakespeare. You read Hamlet, Macbeth, plays, their songs, sonnets and all. But do you know that what is the role of Shakespeare as a dramatist, and moreover the scene of those dramas, theaters, and authoritative control on the manuscripts and all? This has been asked in question. Net mein pucha gaya hai. So all I mean to say is that it's just not about the making the list of that syllabus. You must have the scientific approach. Remember this thing. Studying literature is a different thing, having knowledge of literature is a different thing, and qualifying NET is a different thing. That's why I just always keep on telling you that always go for a teacher who has university level experience, university level standard, like I have the University of Delhi experience. The reason is we sit with top professors, we get to know their ideas. They do not talk about that Daniel Defoe ne kya likha hai, what has been written by Daniel Defoe, what was the book published by in 1928. They don't talk about these things. They talk about how the theories can be applied in those things, what are the significances of those books, how we can go for the translated version of those theories. In short, they talk about something scholarly. Guys, when you prepare for all those exams, see, when you go for those simple stories and all, you're not preparing for NET. How many of you know that in Restoration, even Earl of Rochester, who wrote one of the most vulgar and pornographic book, is also the part of syllabus, which is called sodomy. Do you know that where Restoration writings have been criticized for their vulgarity, it is the same age when Milton wrote Paradise Lost. All I want to say is that you need to go for the comparative study, focusing on all those books, their scholarly articles, their depth, and then you have to go for the social system of that time, the kings, the queens, how they got married to each other, and wars. For example, do you know that James II, he became the king, but public didn't like him. Public called his son-in-law to kill him, but James II ran away, and that is called Glorious Revolution. Do you also know that once in 1605, somebody called Guy Fawkes, he tried to kill everybody, which is called Guy Fawkes plot, also called gunpowder plot. And then 1707, Act of Uniformity. You have to talk about those act of uniformation, and then union of the crown. In short, all those things. So what I mean to say is that British history's percentage has been reduced and standard has been increased. So now you have to be a scholar. Now the question comes that, okay sir, how should I start now? I'm a new student, how should I start? Buddy, if you are starting it, I suggest you the very easy and the direct way is have somebody to guide you. The reason is that even if you go for the swimming thing, you need a trainer. In the swimming pool, it's only 4 feet. You're not going to die there. You won't be sinking, you won't be drowning. But still, the teacher will teach you how to have the motion of your hands and your body structure, keeping your head above the water, all those things. Why? Because a coach can point out your problems. So you will say, okay sir, it is your video, that's why you're talking about the coach. Yes, I'm talking about the coach. That's the reality. Because who will tell you that in Victorians, when you read Mayor of Casterbridge, skimity ride is more important? The book, it will tell you? No, the book is not going to tell you. If you read market guidebooks, find out Rex Warner, skimity ride, the prepositional stand. Market guidebooks are not talking about all those things. Earl of Rochester, sodomy has not been even mentioned by them. Then how are you going to prepare these things? There was a question that way of the world starts in chocolate house. Find out the question in your guidebooks. It's not there. The concept is you must have idea of that literature. Remember, when you prepare for modern age, they will never talk about Titanic, they will never talk about the Ford car series and other things which made the age look modern. The Industrial Revolution, influence of Apollo 1 to Apollo 7, Apollo 8, Apollo 9. In short, you have to go for the better study. So how you have to start is, first either you have the guide, and if you choose the guide, go for the guides, certificates, NET JRF, because I want you to know that when your guide is capable of guiding you, if he himself qualified or not. And remember one more thing, please go for the percentage of the teacher who has qualified, because there are a lot of people who are qualified in 50% and are teaching you for 68%. So make sure you remember that. Then talk about the experience of that person teaching NET, because they keep claiming, everybody claims that my notes gave 90% paper, my notes gave 100% paper. It's up to you. Don't get befooled and go for the university level standard of the teacher. Go for the experience. Find out whether the teacher has any idea about the university level things or he's just a tuition teacher. So this will help you to choose your guide. If in case you cannot go for your guides, I'll suggest you that start reading 3 to 4 history books. All you have to do is 3 to 4 different history books. David H's is very important. My online students will say, sir, you said no David H's. I tell you why. Because you are online students. You don't need to waste your time, because whatever you will understand by reading David H's, Compton Rickett, Legis Kazamia, Edward Elbert, I will give you all those things in my lecture. So that's why I ask you not to go for those things. But those who are independent readers, I also appreciate independent readers. You go for at least 3 to 4 books. David H's, Andrew Sanders and Compton Rickett. David H's gives you in-depth knowledge. Then Compton Rickett, it talks about all the point-to-point details, and Andrew Sanders gives you analytical ideas. After that, the second most important thing is American literature. Friends, when you prepare for American literature, a lot of students have prepared American literature and many of you must have taken coaching classes. Ask your teachers, ask your trainers why they never talked about the American colonization. Do you know that America itself was a colony? Why we never study American writings as the post-colonial part? America itself was a colony, then Father Raleigh's War took place, and you must remember the colony of America, which is New England, has given the writers like Robert Frost and many great writers. Why New England is a town in America? What was the influence of French people in America? If you remember, French and England, they were fighting to take control of America. So this is how you're gonna start. Then all the great writers of early years, just after the independence of American Revolution. And remember, there are 5 great poets. They are called fireside poets. Make a list of them, read them. But then I must tell you that none of them is important for NET. It's just name which is important, that why they are called fireside poets. After this, you go for the great American writers who helped American literature to get developed. Here we have Transcendentalism, the writers related to this thing. Then we have American Beat Generation. Then we have Phi Kappa Beta Society. So in short, the early writings, the medieval writing, the great writings, and the postmodern American writings like Philip Roth and all, John Updike. So you must remember, you won't find these names in your books, and there is no direct book in market. It is written by some Indian writers. In fact, I was shocked to see that some lady has started giving notes saying that I have edited. There is no edition, it's just copied and pasted. So in short, even if it is that, at least the writer should be told to you that which writer is important or not. Like for example, when I teach in online or on my offline classes, I tell my students with a raised voice, guys, this is very important. If you go to exam without this thing, trust me, you will never qualify. And guys, the name is important, book is not important, leave him. That's how I teach. Next thing is Indian literature. And yes, the most crucial question, whether you should read Indian literature or not. Yes, you have to read it, but not in a conventional way, like reading Raja Rao to R.K. Narayan and all those things going in detail. See, for the recording video, I'm like sweating also, but the concept here is that content is important. So guys, Indian literature, divide it in parts. Literature before 1947, literature after 1947, literature during 1947, which is called partition novels and all. So partition novels net के बहुत important part है. They have been asked in net exams. And then you go for the postmodern Indian writings. Then separate reading of Indian post-colonials and their another stream, Indian women writers as post-colonials. And then you go for the 3 big streams, Dalit literature, Indian modern theatre, Indian aesthetics. So these are the most important thing, that how you have to go for it. Now the question comes, what are the books? M.K. Naik, Srinivas Iyengar for basic Indian writings. For postmodern Indian writings, there are no books. You just have to go for the writers, find out them, search them, make sure you have Booker awardees, at least their names. And then for Dalit literature, you'll have to go for separate writings. But Dalit literature writer, they never wrote for NET. Indian aesthetic writers, they have never written for NET. You have to pick the content. Like, you must be knowing what a swan does. if you give a swan milk mixed with water, he will just drink the milk and leave the water. So that's what you have to do. After this, the question comes that what is the value of criticism? Those who are really bad in criticism can read B. Prashad. B. Prashad is actually Indian writer, and from my point of view, I think he has made theory criticism easy. In fact, I use it for my preparation. You can also go for N. Krishnaswamy. His criticism and theories both are good. For literary theories, friends, literary theories, scholars will tell you the books, read Peter Berry, read Raman Selden, this, that. But do you know that reading the theory books in Indian scenario, even after reading it, you are not capable of understanding what they want to say. When they say language is synchronic, but in certain cases it can be diachronic. Do you get the meaning? Did you understand what they want to say? Language is an army with a navy. Do you understand what they want to say? No, the book will never teach. Why? Because Peter Berry, when he was writing theory book, he didn't write for Indian NET exam. And Indian NET exam is actually based on very objective things. They can just pick it. So what you have to do for it? The easiest and the actually practical way is watch my video lectures. I have made theory look really easy. Search them. There are video lectures. You can go for it. Go for Indian writers who have written and try to make it easy. Plus, make sure you read at least from 3 to 4 sources. Peter Berry can be a base, Raman Selden can be a base, and Krishnaswamy is a base. But go for other articles, go for websites. After this, we talk about that criticism and thing. Just B. Prashad, that's very common. Now, we talk about the rest of the literature. Friends, the question comes, what is world literature? See, after the translation things, they became prominent and people started translating great books. The question is that these translated versions, they have introduced us to the rest of the world. What you have to do is make Russian literature their separate notes. Here, books should be related to Russian Revolution, then Russian postmodern writings like Ivan Bunin and all, they are related to Russian postmoderns. Fyodor Dostoevsky is there, then Alexander Pushkin, Nikolai Gogol. French writers, when you read Albert Camus there, then you have to go for Marcel Proust and many other writers like the one Honore de Balzac. So ancient, then moderns, and then writers related to their revolutions like Victor Hugo and all. After this, you have to go for Italian writers. Not a single book is available on Russian separately, on French, on Italians. In Italians, you have to pick only 7 writers. They are very, very important. You can text me to get their names exactly. After this, when you go for German literature, do you know that in German literature, you have to go for German romanticism, German fate drama, German epic drama, and then German writers. There are approx 9 writers. 5 out of them are always asked in NET. So that's you can prepare. After this, you have Afro-American literature, African literature. 90% students will question what is Afro-American, what is African. Guys, this is not enough. You have to go for black feminism writing and moreover the slave narratives. If you know that in Restoration, Ephra Behn is the first writer, the first lady writer plus first writer to write a slave narrative in a famous work, Urunuku. So this is how you have to start reading all those things. Now the question comes that do we have the writers from New Zealand, Mexico or Middle East? Yes, we have. You have to read Azhar Nafisi reading Lolita in Tehran. You have to go for those writings. You also have to go for the deep road to the deep north. There is a famous book written by some great writer. I'm not actually having the name. All you have to go for these details actually. So in short, if you are done with these, then you are left with linguistics, teaching of English, and then you have to go for literary terms. There are approx 1200 plus literary terms which are actually very important, and if you go for 200 literary terms which are actually very, very important, you have to go for them. To get the same list, you can text me again on my WhatsApp number. Luckily, online students, those who are under my guidance, they get exact guidance, they get accurate guidance, so they are having all those things. Now after these things, is there anything left? Yes. Translation theories, culture studies, comparative literature. If you have taken coaching from any coaching center, take this video, talk to them that why this man is teaching. I teach culture studies, I teach translation theories, everything in my online to offline classes. Why they are not teaching? First thing, it's not easy. None of them can teach easily. They have no idea what to say. They do this. And moreover, culture studies, translation theories are actually the part of JNU syllabus, primarily JNU and DU. You have to go for all those things. And then the question comes that is it enough now? Is it enough? Should I stop? No. There are still lots of great important things like you have to go for separate study of war poets, absurd theater, the Beat Generation writer, and the very latest queer theories, LGBT, fourth wave feminism, fourth world literature, and the worst thing in Indian scenario is, friends, you do not have any books in them. You cannot get these books. And you know what? It's not about buying the books, getting the notes. Even if you have the idea of LGBT theory, what if they ask you a question that in Marlowe's Edward II, there is a homosexual character? Why? Because now the books are being read from homosexual point of view. Do you know that Christina Rossetti's Goblin Market is actually important for lesbian point of view? Do you have any idea that to his coy mistress, with all those sexual oriented things and those symbolic things, has become the part of those sexual theories dealing with queer things and all? So in short, these are the most important things. Then in last, you have to go for bestseller awardees, bestsellers, awardees, Booker, Nobel, Pulitzer. All these things are very, very important. And then the reality comes. The reality is that for a good student, even not, I'm not saying every student, good student, it's not easy to prepare all these things with no idea what to read and not, because literature is very vast. If you want to spend your 6 months in LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, you can spend 6 months. Who will tell you that Eva Kofsky is more important than Judith Butler? In short, who will tell you what is fourth wave feminism, where women is portrayed as sex object? Have you ever imagined that in Bollywood to Hollywood movies, when heroines they are always portrayed in bikinis and showing the figure coming out of the water? Why this is symbolic scene repeated again and again? Because in fourth wave feminism, they say that women has been given an image, and the image is that women is a sex object, which Freud once said scopophilia. So you have to go for all those theoretical details. Fourth world literature. Do you know that in India, if we compare Aryans to Dravids, Dravids are the real Indians, Aryans are not the real Indians. Then when you are done with all those things, then you have to go for independent theories like third space, contact zone theory, X-bar theory, generation theory. All these theories are very important. Do you know there is something called sandwich technique? So in short, you have to read a lot. I'll tell you this thing. It's not a praise, but I'll tell you why Vineet Pandey has become very famous. Because I teach all these things, plus I'm sure 50% things are left which is not in my mind, but I just teach them. Why so? Because when we teach Dalit literature, I also go in depth of Dalit feminism. When we talk about feminism, we go for Marxist feminist studies. Go to your coaching centers, ask your teacher why you never taught us about Marxist feminist things when they are being asked in net. So that's how you have to complete all these things. And friends, as you are going to start it, have confidence in you, because I just started like you. Today I'm talking all these things in English. Once English was something very new to me. It was like Latin and Greek. I had no idea like how can I speak English? Will I be able to speak English? Now I'm talking about all those things like they are on my fingertips. Why? It took me 6 years. 6 years I've been teaching net with on my own records of 6 net, double JRF. Can you imagine? Have you ever seen any double JRF in English? So you should take it as a motivation that somebody who came from very small town, you know, when I was studying, I would hardly understand those English books. It was like I would buy those books, I will smell them, I will open and I will smell nice, and then I will write my name nicely, and the very second line when I tried to read it, I would find tough words to be discovered in dictionary. I came from that area, darkness, the village where we had no idea, no internet and all. If I can talk about all those things, you can do the same thing. But remember, to have 6 net, double JRF and then 15 state set, you need to work a lot, you need to understand syllabus, and I tell you this thing that revision is the key. Revision is very, very important. Prepare your notes, make your own notes, but remember, do not go for surface level knowledge. Surface level knowledge will make you just mug up things. Go in depth, and if you have any question, any query, or you feel like that yes, I should join Vineet Pandey. Why? Because Vineet Pandey is the one who shows his University of Delhi experience letters and certificates. Yes, I was working in University of Delhi for 3 years. Now I'm totally dedicated to net and my own research work. That's why I'm not working there. If you want that, yes, Vineet Pandey, the man who himself got double JRF in general categories, should teach us, then you can join us, and you can also go for the repeated history of 6 net. I have given my best. Net is my life, net English. And why so? Because people told me net English is impossible, you cannot do it. I wanted to tell them, I am telling them that yes, I made it a game. Net is just a mind game. You just have to give best, devotion, control, and your perfection. And remember friends, when you start your preparation, Go for a photograph of your parents, keep it in front of you the table, and start your preparation with the name of God. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz. Namaskaram.